Welcome back one and all for the latest episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly at Liverpool FC podcast, brought to you by the LFC File and myself, Ben Green. Thanks for stopping by. As usual, if you like the content, please remember to, of course, like, subscribe, press the notification bell and share with your friends and fam. And please, by all means, leave a comment and let me know what you think of the last week at LFC or, of course, of the content. So, without further ado, let's get into it with the not good. And the not good this week is, of course, Liverpool's performance against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge yesterday. They fell behind early on to, I think it was Enzo, wasn't it, scored. Struggled after that. Pretty much struggled to get back into the game. As we know, things got from bad to worse when, unfortunately, Virgil van Dijk's clearance cannoned off Jarell Quansah's midriff and beyond Alisson Becker to make it 2-0. So that certainly didn't help things. In the second half, there were some changes. Harvey Elliott wasn't doing so well, neither was Endo, both of them struggling. I think for Elliott that's going to be a bit of a concern actually, because once Szoboszlai and Mac Allister came in to join Curtis Jones in midfield, then the dynamic changed. And on 85 minutes, said Mac Allister put in a corner and Van Dijk was there to nod it in to give the visitors hope. But unfortunately in the last dying minutes actually, unfortunately, Mr. Quansah again, Mr. Unlucky was yesterday, brought down, I can't remember who it was, but he brought down one of the Chelsea players. I think it might have been Palmer actually, I'm not sure. But he brought them down in the area anyway, and it was quite a clear penalty. And Palmer duly stepped up and put that beyond the despairing Alisson, who did get a palm to it actually, but obviously the force of the shot was too much. And that was it, pretty much all over Austin Rover for Liverpool. As reported on the official site, there's a report from Joe Urquhart here. Liverpool defeated away at Chelsea in Premier League. Need I say more? Not great news. I think it was more about Chelsea wanting it, and Liverpool seemed a bit flat, to be honest. I think they'll be glad when the season's over. It's not the best of ways to celebrate winning the league, but the guard of honour that Chelsea gave Liverpool was very nice. Good, welcome touch. But I think this is a tradition anyway. But it's nice that they've observed it. That's what I wanted to say, with my teeth in. Moving on to the not bad. And the not bad, for the not bad, I've got a video from Sky Sports actually that was on YouTube this week, and it's entitled Arne Slot reveals his first impressions of Salah, Van Dijk, Gakpo and more. And it's an interview with Arne Slot, of course, with Sky Sports, and he's talking just about maybe not so much turning points, but the parts of the season that stood out for him and things like this. But one thing that struck me in the interview was when he was asked how he felt when Liverpool approached him for the job. And he said, among various things, I wanted to know why they were interested in me, etc., etc. But one thing he said was that he was surprised how much homework Liverpool had done on him, and he was also surprised how much they knew just about players in general, maybe players even at Feyenoord. But he said he kind of laughed and he said, I was very surprised how much they knew. And I think this is something that bodes very well for Liverpool. Of course, there's the FSG out brigade, of which I am not a part. I'd like to say I'm more for the FSG in and to remain, because let's say the FSG out group got their way and they were gone. Who better is there? You know, it's like saying we get rid of a manager, all right, we get rid of Arne Slot, which is not really a topic, but then who do you get? Who's available? And if they're available, are they actually going to make a difference? And when you look at the detail that FSG work in, it's no surprise that they've had the success that they've had. Yeah, when you look at the players that they've brought in, it's no surprise that they've performed well because they really do their homework. And this, for me, is something which is pivotal. You know, the club is run in a very sustainable way. Of course, we would like to be in the running for whichever top player comes out and around and available and all this sort of stuff for whatever inconceivable amount of money that they're going to cost. But the reality is not that, you know. And Liverpool never has been about that, to be honest. Liverpool has always been about being meticulous, knowing players, having a good oversight of players, being able to scout well, bringing good players. When you look at the players that Liverpool have had over the past, very few of them have been kind of household names. You know, looking back, the likes of Suarez, Daniel Sturridge, maybe people knew. Salah people knew but didn't rate. You know, Diaz, Gakpo in the current team, if you look back before the likes of Suarez, Torres people knew, okay. But a lot of the other players, no one, even if you go back years, the likes of Kevin Keegan and Kenny Dalglish, no one heard of Kenny Dalglish when he came down from Celtic. And this is still the same approach which is serving them well today, and it's what FSG kind of went back to. And I think this is something that we have to bear in mind. So this is my 2 penn'orth on that. There's a link to it in the description, but it's a very interesting and open interview, and I think it's worth watching, because if you read between the lines, I think there's more to be happy about than there is to bloody moan about. Look at it that way. And on that note, I come to the smugly. And the smugly this week is simply that despite yesterday's result, if we look at the league table here as shown by the BBC, yes, we're still top, and it's not going to change. So this season we are champions. Yesterday's game didn't really surprise me, actually. I think in the last month or two, the players have looked pretty tired. When you look at the likes of Elliott, maybe they should have been given more game time. I think yesterday he looked a bit ring rusty, to be honest, but he didn't do himself any favours. But at the end of the day, we're champions, and there's, 3 games to go. Yes, it would be nice for points and everything else, but to be honest, I'm not that fussed what happens for the remainder of the season. We've done the business. We've got number 20 in the bag now. And of course, it's not like I don't care, but at the end of the day, it's not that important. There isn't anything else to play for other than a bit of pride. So I think it's only normal that maybe they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit. But, yesterday's performance was not the Liverpool that we saw in maybe November, December, February. Not by a long chalk. So, I don't think it's a huge surprise, and I don't think we should, what's the expression? We should be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And on that note, we come to the point in the podcast where we look at the exploits of Fantasy Premier League team FC Akia Zalfish. And not a great week this week. I played the wild card. Didn't work out as expected, unfortunately. I've got 35 points, just slightly over the average of 33. with the highest of 101. It doesn't look as if it was a great scoring week, to be honest, but probably my worst choice was swapping Van Dijk for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who kind of disappointed yesterday. Obviously got his mind on other things. But you can see the most contributor there, Isaac, 9, Guardiola got 8. Yeah, not much else to write home about. Still got Ismail Sarr for Palace and Henderson in goal, who are going to play against Nottingham Forest tonight at Selhurst. So let's see how that pans out. Yeah, it's not been the best of weeks. Right, if I wait for this thing to work, onto the league situation. And you can see in the Düsseldorf Super League, I still maintain the first place on 2,311 points against, they think it's all over on 2,269, who is making a late charge. He's got to be, 40 odd points, 42 points behind. So for the next 3 games, I need to make sure that I get my house in order and line my ducks up, sharpen my pencil, all that kind of thing. But so far, so good. Onto the League of Kings, ahead still 2,220, a sizable lead over Mr. Chris Gale from Overland and Sea, who is on 2,054 points. He's had a decent week this week, but not enough to make a dent into my lead, fortunately for me. I think there's been a couple of pivotal weeks for me. When I travelled to Jamaica the week before last on the Wednesday and came back on the Wednesday, and wasn't able to really fix the team and missed the deadline and all that. I think those things haven't helped. But excuses. Doesn't make any major difference, but it didn't help. Anyway, that said, we are where we are. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Before we close, just a couple of things. The DGR ride is on the 18th of May, of course, so please do donate to that if you can. And also look out for the next season update, which will be out, I would imagine, at the end of May, maybe the end of June. We'll see. But definitely after the season's end, so look out for those. And on that note, I will bid you a good week ahead. Look after yourselves and one another. It's going to be a nice sunny weather, at least here on mainland Europe. And I'll see you in the next one. Look out for the final FPL update for this week, which should be out, all things being equal, on Friday. And until then, peace, ULFC file.